Yeah, it's fine. We can do that. And more on backers in just a minute. Welcome to 3HL Weekly. I'm Joe Tilley, along with Justin Fox, the founder and president of the 3HL Tour. And Adam Griffith joins us today. Adam is a sports producer at Sportsnet. I had two choices and I chose the wrong one. Adam is a producer at Sportsnet. And first of all, tell us a little bit about yourself, Adam, and what you're doing over there.
Yeah, hey guys, nice to be on. I produce advertising and video content. I work over at Rogers and Sports Media, and Sportsnet's one of the clients that we service. So, I work on a lot of the video advertising for broadcast and digital and social channels over there. So a lot of the branding content for all their brands, and then advertisers and different brands that come on and do advertising through our channels. We handle some of their content as well.
So Adam,
go ahead.
Adam's also part of the advisory board of the 3HL. But yeah, go ahead.
Of course. Yes, that too. I was going to ask you, Adam. I know that you're involved in the production of the 3HL spots, which you're working on right now. Tell us about where you're at in that process and what we're going to see.
Yeah, so now that 3HL is starting to ramp up and get ready for this coming season of 2022. The main video we're working on right now is a big brand spot, just to kind of help introduce the league and kind of put us on the stage and let everybody know what we're doing. We're really excited about it. It's going to be kind of a big spot showcasing kind of a little bit the mysterious side of 3HL right now. I know it's coming, and there's a lot of anticipation coming up for it, but we just want to make our players look great and kind of get some excitement going around the league, and for both, the owners, the players, and for the public to kind of let everybody know what's coming and show how big and great this is going to be. We're also kind of, I think once we start getting, teams and players signed on, we're going to be doing some smaller videos, some little profile pieces, and kind of getting some eyes on, who the players are, who the teams are, who the owners are, and kind of building some buzz around a little bit more of the micro side of it versus kind of like the macro, larger 3HL.
Well, the season is only 6 months away. Justin, you must be getting pretty pumped up. I know you finished off your package, your deck, if you will, and it's a nice looking document you put together as the 3HL ramps up.
Yeah, it's exciting. About 6 months away from the start of the season in September, and so it's kind of exciting. Obviously, a lot is happening. Adam and sort of people are. I know you're working with a couple of production studios as well there, Adam. I was going to say, shout them out.
We're working with Impossible Studios. I have some colleagues over there. They're Toronto based here, and they're doing some big and great things. And I've been looking forward to getting some projects going with them. So yeah, we're both super stoked about getting this going.
So Impossible Studios. So shout outs to Impossible Studios for letting us or working with us to put together the production. So that's kind of exciting. I've seen kind of I don't even know. I'm not a media type person. What do you call that initial kind of, what was it called, teaser or whatever that they sent out, they put together? What was that?
That's just like a treatment of the video. So they got together a treatment video for that, just to kind of pitch the idea, and showed it to our inner team here, and everybody was super excited about it. So yeah, just getting everything lined up and sorted out and getting our dates down and going to start shooting this. And yeah, everyone's looking really forward to getting this going. It's going to be a good one.
Kind of like a Stranger Things kind of vibe, sort of like this, like you said, this mysterious.
Yeah, we're calling it The Arrival. So we're kind of
Arrival. Okay.
Arrival. Yeah, so we're kind of bringing in it, kind of the look and feel of maybe an alien kind of invasion.
Yeah.
Not so much necessarily aliens touching down, but kind of the dark, moody. The lights are flickering. Some kind of stuff's happening inside of the house that's a little bit sci-fi. Mixing that with
the unknown, right? It's
3HL and all the players,
Yeah. Sort of that like unknown, what's happening, what's coming. It's sort of that mystique, mysterious.
Build the
No,
excitement.
yeah. It's pretty awesome. Looking at the treatment and excited to see what happens there. But yeah, as you said, Joe, it's 6 months out. We've got a lot happening. We're working with some of the teams now that are signing up, joining on. I think we're at about 5 now. We're trying to get to 8 by the end of this month. 4 or 5, 8 by the end of this month committed to really ramp up. And then in sort of April, May, June, we'll start to have a bit of a free agency, do some open tryouts, different things of that nature. And then, players will have the option to sign on to some of the early teams that are signing up or launching with the team founders. So if you're interested in being a team founder and founding a team in your community and being a community organizer, maybe you're a former pro, maybe you're, former player, maybe you're just a businessman, woman, anyone in that community, and you'd like to have a 3HL team representing your community, then reach out to us, obviously, and we'll connect with you and we can get you set up. The goal is to eventually have 64 teams. So we're starting out with the initial 8, original 8, as some people have referred to them as. But we'll be growing that hopefully over the next 12 to 18 months to that 64 team sort of, what would you call it, weekly sort of field, where I think that can also expand to beyond that 64, where your top 64 are showing up, kind of like the PGA Tour. Not every golfer golfs every weekend kind of thing, right? Not every team plays or participates. Not every race team races on Sunday on NASCAR, right? So really ramping up to that. So that's exciting. Then we'll have the draft, I believe, is scheduled for, don't quote me, but I believe August 3rd. So we'll be having the draft August 3rd, and then we'll be getting into sort of preseason and doing a lot of stuff, starting to work with a lot of the venues. So if you're also interested in being a host city and having the 3HL tour, grace your town or city with our presence, bringing thousands of fans, thousands of professional athletes to your town, huge economic benefit. I think also reach out, if you have a good venue that you'd like to, for us to utilize in our sort of inaugural, season here, that'd be cool as well. So reach out to us as well. So definitely lots of opportunity. We're obviously working with Sportsnet as well, on the production side. So we're going to be, discussing and rolling that out. So there's not a lot of details to reveal just yet, but I think over the next couple of coming months, we'll also have, the ability to announce, the production or the broadcasting of the 3HL, on Sportsnet and through Sportsnet. So lots of fun things happening. It's going to be a whirlwind of a 6 months. So yeah, we're excited.
I want to say, Adam, I want to ask you what excites you the most about the 3HL and the concept and what we're working towards there.
I was at the first tournament, the New Year's Day Classic. What was that, 4 or 5 years
January
ago?
1st, 2017.
Yeah, 2017. So yeah, almost 5 years ago now. It was 5 years ago, I guess.
Yeah.
Just the atmosphere there. It was kind of it's different than how I've experienced hockey in the past. I've been to a lot of pro games, junior games. Grew up playing minor hockey, and just the whole kind of event around it is what excites me. It's 3 hours. You get to see nonstop action. There's no real lulls in the game. It's different. There's not a lot of hitting, but that's okay. The speed and the excitement. And I swear, every game there's 3 or 4, highlight reel plays, whether it's a save or a passing play or a great goal or, it's just, like I said, nonstop action. And the whole fact that it's kind of one game after another, there's really no pause. And, the live entertainment going on, it kind of reminds me of when you're watching the basketball game, there's no real kind of lull in it. So seeing all the games back and forth and watching the teams kind of progress in that tournament style. And, any week somebody can get hot, and, the team who you go in as the underdog can just have a great day, and all of a sudden they're in the finals. So yeah, it's cool. The combination of, 3-on-3 overtime hockey with, the March Madness style bracket with the PGA Tour style, moving around to a different community every single week. And like Justin said before, I think it really fills a void in the Canadian pro hockey that we have right now. You know, a lot of guys, a lot of people I know have gone down to the ECHL. They've gone overseas. They've tried to make their hockey career work up until the age of 30, mid 30s. And at the end, you know, they've had a great career, but they moved back to Canada and now they're kind of stuck, you know, figuring out what's next in life. You know, what this provides is an opportunity for people to keep playing hockey, keep getting paid to play hockey. Their friends and family and their communities can come out and watch them. And at the same time, they can still, you know, they can still live their life. They don't have to completely commit to a lifestyle that is kind of one and only, which is hockey. They can still do other things. They can still, you know, have a family and have a job and a career, and they can still do what they love and make money doing it. So all that together is, it's just, yeah, like I said, there's nothing that exists like that in Canada right now. And I think it's exciting for people to watch that. And I think there's a lot of opportunities when it comes down to, you know, even gambling and betting on the games. Now that's, you know, a thing that can happen in Ontario with single game bets. The opportunities are kind of all over the place. So yeah, overall, it's really exciting. It's something new that we've never seen before. Everyone loves 3-on-3. I do. I know a lot of people do. Everyone's excited. Last 5 minutes of a tie game in the NHL, everyone's just banking for it to go to 3-on-3.
Yeah.
So when you can have that all game long, you know, what's not to love?
But it is really exciting, no doubt about it. And it also requires a specific skill set that, you know, some players, maybe they weren't necessarily suited for an NHL career, but they have they bring to the table, you know, in the 3HL game, something that's really incredibly exciting. And I know, Justin, you'd talked to us off camera about a contact you have with in Europe, the IIHF, and talk about that potential.
So yeah, so I mean, I've been sort of in discussions with some people overseas about different opportunities, but one of the things that I want to bring up is that the IIHF is actually looking at, and there's an article in the Hockey News, a couple other articles in various publications about the potential for a 3-on-3 hockey in the Olympics. So, you know, whether that's in 2026, we were just sort of doing in Milan or afterwards, there's definitely talk about having 3-on-3 hockey as a standalone sport in the Olympics. The IIHF has already hosted a number of events at sort of the youth level and sort of the junior level. I think they're going to start looking at events at the men's level. So there's definitely an appetite, excitement around 3-on-3 that is, you know, brewing. I mean, obviously in 2015, when we started the 3HL, in 2017, we were really early to the game, I think. But, you know, it's, you know, I read another stat on another article, 97% of NHL players, you know, like the 3-on-3 or prefer the 3-on-3 as the overtime format. So, I mean, there's huge appetite from a player's perspective. Obviously, the fans love it, you know, from an excitement. I read another stat, 60% of games that go into overtime now do not go into a shootout, meaning that there's a high probability that a goal is scored 60% of the time in 5 minutes. So you do the math, you know, calculate that out over a game, you're looking at probably like a 15-13, you know, standard game, right? Just that might not be the math, so no one quote me, but high scoring, let's say, right? You know, so the idea that, you know, it's high scoring, fast paced, intense, and people like it. And like Adam said, you know, and you said, Joe, it's also for slightly different skill, you know, the highly skilled, the fast, the creativity, or the creative. You know, I will push back on what Adam said. I mean, what we're going for is not after retirement. This is actually a pro league for guys still in their prime. So this is to replace the ECHL, to replace Europe, to become to become the league of choice for professional hockey for Canadians. And as
a better option. Maybe a better option.
Exactly. And as I put on the the league of choice. So in their case, a better option. As I put, statistically, only 0.11%. And this was a study done by, I think, 40,000 young players in sort of playing at a high level of hockey, Canadians specifically. There was a 0.11% chance that they made the NHL, meaning it's very unlikely that guys go play in the NHL. It's a very select few. And the rest of those players end up elsewhere. And those are, at least early on, that's the type of player that we're going to attract, that's looking to play pro hockey, is coming out of junior, is looking to play pro hockey, and would rather play here in Canada or North America, at least at this moment, rather than maybe going overseas, and sees the opportunity to make money pursuing the cash purse, rather than, the average hockey player globally outside of the NHL makes about $30K. So we want to be in that price range, or that kind of salary range, or earnings range. I guess there's no salary for pro hockey players. So good players can make, potentially a couple $100,000. The bad players or lower end players on not so good teams might make that 8-10K. So that's in line with any other pro league.
Well, we saw the backer spot at the beginning of the show, and I think I want to touch on a little bit about the community ownership in the 3HL and where that's going. And another point I would like to make or ask you about is how does somebody follow the progress of the 3HL tour? What's the best way to do that? So if you can cover those kind of points for us.
Good points. We're pretty much 3HL tour across all social media. So, Twitter, TikTok, Facebook. What else is there? Instagram. Yeah, I always forget Instagram. I don't really use Instagram, so it's not really my preference, but we do have an Instagram. But yeah, I think right now the primary ones would be Twitter and TikTok and Instagram, and then Facebook. So you can definitely follow us on there. The other ones that we do have on both Twitter and on TikTok is at Making the Tour, which I think is more of a behind the scenes look at the making of the tour, or of the 3HL tour. So I was just talking with Adam about this, sort of this morning. We're on a bit of a call about the production. I think you're going to start to see a lot more activity there on those three channels. On that channel, on those two platforms, Twitter and TikTok specifically, around the making of the tour. So people can start to engage with, see what's happening, see the players, see the owners, see the teams that are coming up, see what's happening on the behind the scenes on the production side. We're obviously doing these shows. We're going to start to repurpose some of this content into TikToks. I think TikTok is going to be, I used Twitter the first go around in 2015. I launched the first Twitter, and we were able to grow that, within, a few months to a few thousand or 1,000 plus, which at the time I, couldn't get 100 people to follow my personal, it was sort of like, at least I thought it was an achievement. Who knows whether it was or wasn't, but that was how we were able to get the word out around the first go around. This time I think we're going to use TikTok. As to the fan shares aspect and the backers aspect, yeah, I mean, that's, I think, another exciting aspect that we don't talk too much about, or we haven't talked a lot about over the past few years. What we started to talk more about is the fact that these communities and these fans can now own and potentially manage or dictate the management and the operation of these teams through the security tokens that is facilitated through the backers platform. So essentially, as a fan of, let's call it the Oakville team, or the Burlington team, or some of our current teams that we had in the past, the London or Toronto team, you can now, as an owner, right, an actual owner, shareholder of that team, you can use the token, the security token that represents that ownership. You can use that token to vote on aspects of the team, which could range from the team name, kind of your traditional, maybe colors, things of that nature, all the way down to the minutia, where we might get into, who's going out that shift, or who you're signing as a team, to a contract, or who your GM's going to be. A lot of these things, and the concept is really coming from what's called a DAO, or a decentralized autonomous organization, where it's no longer, sort of top down. It's more of a bottom up, where you've got now the community or the, the shareholders as a whole are now influencing, I wouldn't say all, but a lot of the day-to-day actions. And on the flip side, they'll also be compensated or receive some sort of, I guess compensation is the best word, in return for their engagement, for their participation. So it's this whole gamification of, becoming a fan. I mean, you look at fantasy sports, you look at, you talk about gambling and betting and sort of the gaming aspect of sports. We're going to have, a weekly bracket. So, I mean, very appropriate right now. March Madness is happening. I don't know. Does everyone have their brackets filled? Hopefully you watched your Selection Sunday down there in Mexico, Joe. Probably one of my favorite days in sport is Selection Sunday. I don't know what it is about watching like teams of kids, sitting there. It used to be a little more, I think, kind of mystery, because not everyone, there wasn't all these like AP lists everywhere. I think, 10, 15 years ago, like every team was sitting there wondering if they were on the bubble or going to get picked. And then it was sort of, they erupt when they get selected. Still kind of cool. But I love that, like the fact that there's no certainty in where your next, if you're going to be even in the next game in that regard. And then also in March Madness, watching those games that Thursday, Friday, like the next couple of days, Thursday, Friday, even Saturday, Sunday, that first weekend where you've got, the 16-1 and we had the 16 upset the 1 a couple of years ago. I think it was Arizona, or I don't know who the one.
So you want to draw that comparison to what we're doing at the
well, this is it. Like it's this excitement where you never know. Adam alluded to it. You never know what's going to happen. So you've got the fan engagement, the excitement of 3-on-3 hockey, the March Madness, madness, and then you've got the fact that we'll be coming to a city near you. So as a fan, you can buckle up and get tickets and show up and be there.
So I just want to get back to you for a second, Adam, about Justin touched on the social media aspect of things. What do you see happening in terms of a media and social media rollout of the 3HL? Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, well, I think as we know, 3HL is hugely into the community being part of the team. So I think part of that is the community getting to know the team and kind of being involved as much as they can. So I see it kind of going. Once we start getting our teams down, kind of a little bit of an insight into the ownership. So people who want to get on board and be part of the team can kind of know who they're getting on board with and who they're investing with, and the general kind of sentiment of those owners and what they plan to achieve, and then just being involved, getting to know the players, having an input, if like Justin said, into who the players are that are getting on that team and going to be playing on the team. And yeah, I really just want, I think engagement with the players and team ownership is so huge at this point in time, and the ability to do so, through the social media platforms that we have, easily accessible to us now, whether it's like Justin said, TikTok, Instagram, whatever it is. I just want to be able to provide insight to both fans, to let them know what's going on with the teams and who's making up those teams, and allow that two-way conversation to really start to happen so that everybody kind of feels like they're part of the team.
Right. Well, this is awesome, guys. I tell you, this is, to me, it's the biggest thing that's going to happen to hockey in a long, long time, and pretty excited about the 3HL, ramping up in just 6 months' time. Pretty awesome. It's been another edition of 3HL Weekly, and it's great to have you guys on. For Adam Griffith, Justin Fox, I'm Joe Tilley. We'll see you soon.
All right, guys, there we go. It's kind of like the PTI, you get a little bit of